This is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see from Iron all the way to Radiant. I was recently watching my Platinum friend Matt's stream and I noticed something that I see in my Immortal lobbies all the time. I want you to watch how he plays this 1v1 and think about what he did wrong. So you're probably either thinking, A, he should have won his gunfight, or B, he shouldn't have peeked on the first tap because it's obviously a fake. But what if I told you that both of these answers are completely wrong? When we swing here off the tap, we're throwing ourselves into what I call a 50-50 duel. We're not doing anything to give ourselves a real advantage in the duel, and I've seen this play being made 95% of the time since day one of Valorant. The other play I see being made in this scenario is to tuck in this corner and wait for a second tap or a push. But this can also be bad because we take a small gamble that the enemy won't fully stick the bomb. And in the end, you'll still have a tough duel that you may or may not win. So the question is, how can we put ourselves in the best possible position to win this duel? Jump spotting. This is a fairly simple mechanic that even my Immortal teammates haven't mastered, but I'm going to show you guys how and why you need to abuse this mechanic. The first thing you need to do if you're struggling with this mechanic or your movement in general is to set up your secondary jump to scroll wheel down. It simplifies jump spotting because now we're splitting up the actions between your right hand and your left hand. There are already a few great jump spotting tutorials on YouTube, so make sure to check those out too. I'm just going over what's easiest to me and the mistakes that I've personally seen before. For starters, we need to be aware of our surroundings. If I'm playing post plant long C here, I need to know what I can and can't get away with. We don't want to go too wide because if we go too wide, we risk getting shot at. But we also don't want to go too narrow because we're not getting the info that we need. And in this case, the info that we need is whether or not the enemy is sticking the bomb or not. I recommend testing this by hopping in a custom and just seeing how far you can jump. When you think you have the distance correct, you can start timing it then. The way I do this is I make a circle with my player. I jump out and then I come back in to land where I started my jump at. And that's pretty much it. The more you practice this, the more confident you'll be with doing this in your ranked games. I'm also going to give you guys an exercise so that you can practice this. Start by hopping into a Haven custom game and swap to attackers. End the game phase and pause the timer. Now, there are 7 different spots on this map that you should practice jump spotting. This jump spot is good for 2 reasons. The first way we utilize jump spotting here is to get info in the early and mid round. If you know the enemy is opping, you need to find out where they're opping in the early round. And if you don't have utility that can get this information, then you need to jump spot this. This is also one of the best post-plant spots to play on C. I specifically love playing this spot because you can mix in jump spotting and shoulder peeks. And at that point, you're making it really difficult for the enemy to win the round. If you're not playing an initiator on C, you're losing yourself rounds by not being able to jump spot. Your goal as a defending team is to gather as much information as possible to narrow down where the attackers are hitting. 90% of our ranked games consist of the attackers hitting a site early in the round, so you need to get a head start on where they're going. By jump spotting C long, we're eliminating a great chunk of the map. This is a great way to play anti-flash as a defender. All you're trying to do here is make sure that nobody enters garage, and if they do, you can comm that to your teammates and fall off. If you're playing a flash agent though, you can look for a play in garage after you have the info. There are actually 2 jump spots near the entrance of B. One of them is window and the other one is outside of grass. Both of these are good, but they can be a bit tricky, so it's a good idea to drop the spike wherever you're trying to get info. And what this does is it helps us with the timing of the jump and helps us more clearly see what we're trying to get. You and your duo need to try this play where you jump spot A long. Have your duo sprint into this corner behind bricks as soon as the round starts. And now you want to start jump spotting and make sure that the enemies see you as they're running up. The enemies are going to be focused on you, which allows your duo to flash and get some free kills. This is another info jump spot where you're trying to find the opper. You've probably seen your teammates in rank die in world record speeds to an op that sits A long. So similar to the C long jump spot, we're just trying to get info at the start of the round. The last one I'm showing you guys is this window jump spot. You have to be a little careful with this one because the B player can spray you through the wall if they time it right. But a way that you can counter this is by having a teammate swing behind you after your jump spot. And then that way you can catch them for a free kill if they overcommit. Alright, so that's all I have for this video. If you think you learned anything or enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate if you dropped a comment, just so I can see if I should keep making these or not. And if you do think it'll help you, just let me know anything else I can make a video on. I think I have a pretty unique perspective on the game, and I'd like to continue helping people get better in different ways. And for this video specifically, this mechanic is going to be second nature, and eventually you're going to think practicing it is dumb and stupid. But if you're in a lower rank or an average rank and you master this, your teammates are going to look at you like you're LeBron James playing in the 1960s.
Oh my gosh.
W.